Welcome to Bedcrime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T. And if true crime is your jam, and like me, you enjoy delving into unsolved cases, trying to figure out whodunit, please consider subscribing. Also, do me a favor and hit that like button. It will allow me to keep making videos. Today, I want to continue with part 2 of the Bombshells heard in Justice for All's 5-hour interview with Jose Roman. First, let me say that we are going on faith here, that this is indeed the one and only Jose. Justice for All seems convinced of it, and this man does seem to know a lot of detail and echoes many of the things Allie said in her interview with Chris McDonough of the Interview Room. He also doesn't hesitate or pause when answering questions. But without solid identity proof shown, we cannot be 100% sure. And I'm going to say that everything Jose says is allegedly. This is what he says happened, but we have to remember he's not sworn in front of a judge giving testimony. If he is indeed Jose Roman, he's providing a colorful and disturbing picture of what life at 110 Ben Hill Road was like. The 5-hour interview is loaded with information, but in some ways, it's also the interview from hell, at least for me, because it's so long, and I want to hear the whole thing. Part of the problem is that Jose goes off on tangents from time to time, sharing life lessons. While interesting, those nuggets of wisdom add to the video's length. I just want to get to the nitty-gritty, so that's what I'm going to share with you. Justin of Justice for All shared some details about Jose. He said Jose was in prison about 20 years ago, but he did not say for what. Justin also underscored that Jose was in a bad mental state at the time he lived at the Wells property. He said that Jose is doing much better now and that he has a great job. He also said that TBI visited Jose right after Summer went missing. Despite that, Justin said that Jose really had no clue about everything that's been going on over the past few months with all the different YouTube channels and all the live chats with Candace and Don. At about the 1-hour mark, Jose makes an impassioned plea directly to Candace Bly, asking her to tell the truth to authorities. He talks about this for several minutes and tells Candace she better say something now because God is going to judge her harshly when she gets to the pearly gates. To me, if this is really Jose, and Candace indeed has fond memories of her time with him, Jose may have the power to shake Candace into positive action. Okay, enough of that. Let's get to the next bombshells. Bombshell number 5. Jose said he often watched the kids play hide and seek outside on the property. He stated that the old refrigerator outside, yes, the one that Don Wells was seen banging on with a stick, that was Summer's favorite hiding spot. Jose said her second favorite spot was the bathroom inside Grandus's camper. Take a listen.
I remember one video I was looking at with the refrigerator that was outside. That was her favorite hiding spot when she played hide and seek with the boys. That was her go-to. And if not there, inside Grandus's camper, in the bathroom.
Now, this is really not a bombshell, but I will say it's a tier warning. Jose is asked to describe Summer, and I feel it's very important for us to talk about the missing person, the victim. She should be at the top of all our discussions. She's why we're here after all. So let's take a listen to what he had to say about Summer.
Summer, like, oh my God. Summer reminded me a lot of my little girl. A lot. Like, just thinking about her, I just want to break down because, you know, and grab a rag, throw water on it. Let me help you. That was Summer.
Jose then talks about the clothes Summer was wearing in the photo of her where she's against the milk. He said those are the nicest clothes he ever saw her in. Per Jose, Summer hated clothes. She hated wearing shirts and shoes and loved running barefoot in the mud, echoing her mother Candace's sentiments in one of her first on-camera interviews. Jose also said that although Summer had a ton of energy, she would fall asleep at the drop of a dime. He even described a time when she fell asleep on her knees. So Jose didn't seem to think the photo of Summer with the milk was unusual or something to question. Now, I have to say that some of the things Jose says are throwing me off a bit. I mean, he said that Summer did sometimes wander down the driveway and away from the home, contradicting what both Don and Candace have said in multiple interviews. They were adamant that Summer would never go beyond her swing because she'd been warned of all the dangers on the property. Jose then describes a family of meth users who allegedly live near the wells. He said that some of them would do crazy antics, such as having a romp, wink wink, sans their clothes on the front lawn for all to see. Jose said that Don flipped out on the same family when he found his kids on their four-wheelers near the family. It's interesting to hear that Don would get angry at these people for doing meth around his kids when we've heard that he did the same sorts of things. If this is true, Don is one hell of a hypocrite, almost to the point of being delusional. Bombshell number 6. Jose alleges that Don went to Mexico one time and stayed there for 2 weeks on a drug binge. He says Don's sister went to Mexico to get him and bring him back to his family. Jose also talks about another incident when Don allegedly disappeared for 2 weeks, this time to a drug house in a neighboring town where he blew all of his money, leaving Candace without any cash for food. Candace, according to Jose, had to go to the drug house and drag her husband out of there. I get the feeling Candace's life with Don was pure misery. Although we have mixed emotions about her, it does sound like she was living in a DV situation, living in fear, living without financial stability, living without the love of her husband. She's no angel, but no one deserves to be treated like that. Jose also talks about a brown leather belt at the Wells home that Don allegedly used to threaten his children when they made him angry. Listen to how Jose describes it.
And always constantly threatening them with the belt. Always. This brown leather belt that had roses on it and horses on it. I would never forget that belt ever. Because that belt was at least a quarter-inch thick. 100% leather. It had this brass buckle on it. That almost looked like a cowboy buckle, but it had the little tube for you to slide into the hole. And I only remember that belt because Waylon and Wyatt got into a fight over a cupcake, and he got in between them, and he whipped the belt out, and he slapped it on the table. And he slapped it so hard that the belt mark put an indentation on that table.
Now, this apparently triggered Jose because he said he was beaten with a belt when he was a child. I really wish someone could go to the Wells house, look for that belt, and photograph it as proof of Jose's truth. Jose said Don would slap his boys on their bare butts. As for Candace, Jose said she absolutely did hit the kids, but he said it was only when they pushed her beyond her patience threshold. He said she'd lose it and slap them, pinch their ears, or grab their arms. He said he never saw Candace be really brutal with her kids, but maybe Jose didn't witness that. But we have to remember the story Allie's friend Leslie told about the hot pavement and Candace making two of her boys lie on it. Apparently, Jose did not see any of these YouTube videos until the day before his chat with Justice for All. He said he'd stayed up all night watching videos. And now he feels terrible because he said he had the chance to do something and he didn't take that opportunity. Now here I have to raise a red flag. If Jose was truly off the grid and unaware of all the videos of Candace and Allie and Don, I'm wondering how after just one night of watching them, he knows so much about what Don and Candace have said and done. How could a person possibly drink all that in one night and remember it so well? Does that seem odd to you too? Let me know in the comments. Jose says he's appalled by what he sees of Candace now and says she's not the Candace that he knew when he lived on Ben Hill Road. He also stated that he's sure Candace is lying when she tells Chris McDonough of the interview room that she walked Summer back to the house from Grandus's camper. Jose said she never did this, and I think we can all agree that Candace is lying about that in a desperate bid to make herself appear like a highly conscientious parent. At this point, Jose tells a truly horrible story about a kitten that H gave to Summer. Summer apparently loved the kitten and would carry it everywhere. Trigger warning though, this is a disturbing story. Listen to what Jose says Don did to this kitten.
There was a time where Hunter had gotten Summer a little cat. It was a beautiful kitten, white and gray. And I remember where Hunter had brought it, everyone was freaking out, because it looked so cute. And Summer loved it. Summer would carry that baby kitten everywhere. If she went to bed, if she went to the bathroom, once she tried to take the kitten with her to, get wet in the sink, and I remember the kitten jumping down and running away. So when Donnie had came back, he didn't want the cat in the house. He was irate, and he got so upset, and he yelled at Summer, "I told you I don't want the fucking cat in the house." And he grabbed the kitten, opened the door, and literally threw the kitten in between the dogs and the dog.
I cut it off there because what he said was really disturbing. Basically, the dogs tore the cat apart. This stuff makes me sick to my stomach. If it's true, then Don Wells should do additional time for his crimes against animals. I have to say, over all the months of this case and all the interviews I've seen, I have yet to hear one positive thing about Don Wells. Nobody has anything nice to say about this man. Nobody. I'll say it again. Poor Summer. If all this is true, it sounds like she was terrorized by her father in more than one way and would likely bear lifelong scars from what she witnessed and experienced at Ben Hill Road. And the same goes for the three boys. Jose says that Candace would take her kids for medical care, and he believes that she was trying to do her best under the circumstances. He went on to say that Candace is emotionally broken after years of abuse from Don. Jose goes on to talk about bags of dog food in the house and Don asking Wyatt to feed the dogs. Take a listen.
It would be the boys mainly that would do it, Wyatt or Waylon. These are 50-pound bags of dog food that would be right next to the refrigerator, and I remember Donnie telling them, feed the dogs, they're hungry. And I remember Wyatt went to grab the scooper and went to scoop, the dog food, and his arm was just covered in roaches, and he just walked like nothing, like it was a normal day.
One word for that. Gross. Then Justin asks Jose if he dated Allie. And I gotta say, Jose is quite frank about this point. Take a listen.
Did you ever date Allie or have any type of romantic relationship with her?
No, I did. We got drunk one time and got it on. Yeah, we did, but as a relationship-wise, no.
Okay, but it was just like one time?
Oh, yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Then Justice for All's host, Justin, asks Jose when was the last time he spoke to H's father, Andrew Hiltz. Hiltz apparently has his own YouTube channel. Who knew? Jose said that if Andrew knew where he was right now, Andrew would be afraid and trembling. Apparently, H's father, Andrew, announced on his channel that he's in contact with Jose. And Jose is saying this is a lie, that Andrew does not have his phone number. And he goes on to describe Andrew as a manipulator and a liar. But then he says Andrew is a pretty good guy when you get down to the meat and potatoes. That's a confusing description to me. If you're a liar and a manipulator, you're probably not a good person. Bombshell number 7. Although some of us had suspicions about this, we didn't have anyone in the inner circle, the inner Wells circle, saying that it actually happened. Trigger warning. This information is hard to hear.
Did not ask you, but you actually answered it for me, and I said, "Oh my God!" Trigger warning to the audience.
So we talk about Hunter and Candace, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so basically one night we were drinking, and they got drunk, and Hunter and her admitted that Hunter lost his virginity to Candace in that house.
There you go.
But supposedly it only happened one time and it never happened again. And they basically said don't say nothing because they didn't want Allie to know anything. Because as far as I know Allie, I think she would have literally hurt that woman.
Suspicions confirmed. If this is true, Candace belongs with Donnie at the county jail. I wonder if Sheriff Lawson knows all about this. Jose did say he spoke to the TBI. I wonder if he told him everything. Bombshell number 8. Take a listen to what Jose says about Candace and the fishing hole at Warriors Path Park.
It made sense of the watering hole, why he was always going there with her, and I'm not thinking of it as they were having sexual encounters. I'm thinking of it as you're giving alcohol and tobacco to a minor.
So you had told me this,
Yeah, she used to give liquor and cigarettes to Hunter.
Well,
I remember one time that Allie found out, she lost it. But supposedly, she never did it again. But then after looking at the interview, that all of them are sitting there talking with Chris, Hunter admits that she bought him a Twisted Tea and a vape. And there you are. I thought you stopped.
Now, the bombshell here is not that Candace gave H alcohol and vapes. We already knew that, right? The bombshell is that Jose says Candace and H went to the fishing hole often. He also says that Candace not taking the boys with her to the fishing hole should raise alarms because those boys loved fishing. Justin then tells Jose that Candace did not have any fishing gear in the truck with her on the day Summer went missing. Next, Jose speaks directly to Candace, and he says this: "For your actions, you should be in jail." End quote. Jose states to Candace that she violated Allie's trust in her by doing all these things to and with her boy, giving him booze, vapes, and possibly a good time, if you know what I mean. I don't mean to joke about this. I'm just trying to find a way to talk about this horrendous stuff in terms that won't upset YouTube. The more Jose talks, the more Chateau Wells sounds like a den of iniquity. Jose goes on to describe Allie's daughter being at the house and Candace's son or stepson also being there. Per Jose, 2 of the Wells' sons told him that they watched Allie's daughter and this stepson, shall we say, as Jose would say, getting it on, through a hole in the wall and described it graphically for Jose. I'm wondering, why was there a hole in the wall? Who put it there? Can you imagine those young, impressionable children being subjected to all of this? How will these things affect their minds, their behavior? Let's hope that they are in the hands of skilled psychologists who can help undo some of the damage. Bombshell number 9. At this point in the interview, the conversation turns to vehicles and Candace's red Subaru. Now, Jose said he was long gone from the Wells property when Don bought the Subaru, and although Candace was in need of reliable wheels, Jose says he finds it ironic that Don bought Candace this vehicle a few weeks after she rescinded the order of protection against him. Jose thinks it's possible that Don bought the Subaru for Candace in exchange for rescinding the order. But all of that info is not the 9th bombshell. This is the 9th bombshell. Take a listen.
Last night I was talking to Jose and I was asking him, I said, Jose, did Don ever drive any other, did he ever drive any other truck other than his work truck? I said, because there was a little truck found, or there was allegedly a little truck around the bouts when Summer went missing. Go ahead and tell him what you told me, Jose.
Oh, yeah, that was a truck that he would use once in a while when he had to go long distances. It had a ladder rack on it, but those were like the long distance trips, like it would take him an hour or two just to get there. And it wasn't something that was an everyday job. It was like a call up. I need you to go here and do this real quick and then come back. And he wouldn't drive the white pickup truck. He drove that red one.
He drove a little red truck.
A little red pickup truck.
Could this be the mysterious red truck that a neighbor reported seeing in the area on the day Summer went missing? Jose said Don only used this red truck when he had to drive long distances. So if somebody saw that little red truck that day, does that mean Don was driving it? And did Don drive a long distance that day for some reason? Jose says he believes this truck belongs to Don's boss or someone else, but it doesn't belong to the Wells. All this time, Candus and Don had us believing that there was some red truck out there associated with Summer's disappearance. And now, if we are to believe Jose, we find out Don was the one likely driving that red truck on June 15th, 2021, when Summer was last seen. Next, Justin asks Jose about why the Wells kids' heads were shaved. Here's what Jose says.
In their head. And I was like, get eggs, get mayonnaise. I know what to do to take them out because personally, I went through that. So I knew what to do to get rid of them. And they were like, no, shave it off. And that's exactly what they did with the boys. And I wound up cutting their hairs and just, gone.
Whose hair did you cut?
Wayland and Wyatt.
Okay.
And those are the boys, yeah.
Okay.
And at that time, Josie, he was fine because he was with his dad. So
He was in
Utah. Yeah, he was in Utah, so he didn't have none of that. But the boys did, and so did Summer.
Did you catch that last part? Summer had it too. Summer also had lice. Summer had her head shaved because of the lice. When asked how long he stayed at 110 Ben Hill Road after Don returned from Utah, Jose says it was about a month. So that's longer than what I originally thought. I thought Jose had only been there about a week. So Jose had about 4 weeks to observe Don and Candace living together. Jose says he never saw anything physical between Don and Summer, aside from Don taking that shower with Summer. Jose also said that Child Protective Services did not visit the house when he was there. He stated, though, that they, and by they I think he means Candus and Grandus, told him that CPS had come to the house 2 to 3 weeks before he began living there. They told Jose that they locked the door and did not open it. Jose goes on to say that Don molded Candace into almost being a slave to him. According to Jose, Don instilled fear into Candace and Grandus and ruled over the family with an iron fist. Jose also described Don as trying to portray himself as a victim when he's really the predator. And he said now the hunter is the one being hunted. I found those words particularly powerful. Bombshell number 10. Listen to Jose's theory about what may have happened to Summer.
You know, for them to say she was abducted, I don't believe that at all. 100% in my heart, no. I honestly believe something happened in the house. And Summer got very hurt. And I believe that she passed, and they threw her in the car, and they took her somewhere so no one could find her again. And they're trying to blame it on someone else. That's honestly what I believe. I believe an accident happened in that home. You know, something real bad happened. And, you know, I only say this because of the living conditions that they were in. Accidents everywhere, you know. If you trip or fall, you might hit a nail, you know, or hit the table. There were jagged edges, you know, from the bar table that they supposedly built above the stairs, you know. When you went down those stairs, there were nails exposed on the 2x4. She could have went down the stairs and, God forbid, hit a nail and then fell down the stairs and broke her neck or something, you know.
I have to say, I really do believe this is Jose. He just referred to that piece of furniture over the stairs as the bar. And if you recall, Candace said in one of her interviews with Chris McDonough that Don called that the bar. And she went on to say, I don't know why he calls it that because we don't drink that much. Very interesting that Jose would know that detail. Jose goes on to say that he believes it's highly unlikely that an abductor could have figured out how to open the home's door, would know exactly where to find Summer, and could have grabbed her without her making a commotion and being heard. He said Summer would have put up a fight. She was a screamer. Next, Justin asks Jose if Candace and or Grandus ever spoke about their missing family member, Rosemarie Bly. Here's what Jose said.
Yeah, I've spoken to Grandus about her daughter missing, and it was a touchy subject. She would always cry and break down and always wonder where her daughter was, you know. And I believe that Grandus really don't know what happened to her daughter. As far as Candace, to her, it was, oh, my missing sister is more important than me. You know, why would you be like that? This is your sister.
Oh, really? She was kind of jealous of...
Yeah, basically, you know, and very resentful to her mother, you know, that, you know, she was more attentive about her missing sister than her.
Jose goes on to paint Grandus as a loving mother who comes running to Tennessee whenever Candace says she needs help. So now we're getting a different view of this lady, a different view of Grandus. We've seen so little of her. So this kind of paints a different shade onto her, I think. When asked if he thought Candace was jealous of Summer, Jose said this.
I don't think so, but thinking of the things that's going on right now, I wouldn't put it past it now. I really wouldn't at all, because when Donnie came home, it was all about Summer. It wasn't even about Candace, you know? It was, where's my baby? The minute he walked through the door, and she's like, Daddy, and she just jumped on him. And he's kissing her and hugging her. I missed you so much, you know? You know, something, you know, typically when a dad doesn't see the daughter, so it doesn't raise suspicion. Right. You know, it wasn't until that shower incident
Here's what Jose said when the discussion turned to whether or not Summer would have opened her mouth about life at home if she'd made it to school.
And her mouth would have opened, because that girl had no filter. No. She spoke truth always.
Kids are brutally honest at that age, trust me.
Yeah, I mean, very brutal.
Very
and
brutal.
She was definitely brutal.
Yeah.
You know, when her brothers used to pick on her or hit her, she would literally tell you what they did, how they did it, how hard it was. She got grabbed.
So Summer was a talker, not one to hold back. Thus, there's a good possibility that Candus and Don were concerned about their daughter going to school and talking about her home life. My mom was a kindergarten teacher, and it was not unusual for her little pupils to spill the tea about their parents and what was going on at home. So I do believe this was a very real concern for the Wells. Note that Justin said that there were a bunch of things that Jose told him that he felt were too sensitive to talk about. Now I'm definitely wondering what that is all about, because what we've heard so far is very upsetting. What else could there possibly be? At this point in the 5-hour interview, Jose said he had to take a phone call. And I think for me, this is a good place to stop today. I'll be back tomorrow with tidbits from the remaining 2.5 hours of the interview. Now, do me a favor. If you haven't yet hit that like button, smash it. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.